I can't get my hopes up, but I am still excited because this fight was booked twice before and they were both canceled because Shamil has certain health problems. But UFC in Qatar, Doha, later this year, Sergey Spivak versus Shamil Gaziev. Sugar Rush Shamil. The Type 2 Terror Shamil. The Dagestani Diabetic Shamil. My favorite fighter in the UFC, who I dedicated this channel to, who I made my profile picture to. Now look, this fight was supposed to happen in May and in June, and it was canceled. And now it's going to happen November 22nd, apparently, 2 months from now. I hope to God it does. Because when he beats, not if, that's not the question. It's not if he beats, it's when Shamil Gaziev beats Sergey Spivak. He'll be in the top 10. Shamil Gaziev is number 12 right now. Sergey, he's number 7. He'll be in the top 10. He might just take his spot. He'll be number 7. And then what are you going to do, Tom? Where are you going to run from that point, Tom? There's no more running after that because he's probably just going to need one more win in the top 5, and then he could be the next backup fighter, or maybe the next title shot. They're probably not going to give him a title shot. Not yet, at least. But they'll make him a backup fighter. Because the thing with Sergey Spivak is that he's had such a terrible performance against Waldo Cortez Acosta. A terrible performance against Jailton Almeida. He had a good, decent first few minutes against Jailton Almeida. He tripped him and he started beating the shit out of him. But then Jailton Almeida, he's just too good on his back. He reverses the sweep, he gets on top. And the thing is, when they were on their feet, Jailton Almeida laid some punches on him, but nothing landed. And Sergey just gets wobbled and disoriented, and then he just goes down. Sergey Spivak is such a horrible fighter. He couldn't do any takedowns against Waldo. And if he tries to do the takedowns against Shamil, I think Shamil's just going to be too heavy and big. And Shamil himself has good grappling. So it's not a given that he can actually take Shamil down. I consider Shamil to be a very dangerous threat to a lot of heavyweights, especially to Tom Aspinall. Let's look at some Shamil Gaziev punches, some super shawarma punches. That's a killer right there. Look at this man's face. That's a fucking killer right there. Okay? So yeah. Sergey Spivak versus Shamil Gaziev. Who can Shamil Gaziev beat in the top 10? Let's start from the bottom. Marcin Tybura. Well, we just saw Marcin Tybura, a complete shell of his former self. He's old, and he's getting even really big and fat at this point. I know Marcin Tybura has always been on the chunky side, but now he's got a big fat gut that's hanging out. We've never really seen him with a big fat gut like that. Looked horrible against Ante Delija. I don't want to see Ante Delija fight Shamil. I don't want to see that fight. Derek Lewis. Could Shamil Gaziev beat Derek Lewis? I think if he just takes Derek Lewis down and lays on top of him, he could easily beat the Black Beast. Easily. Sergey Spivak, he's going to beat Sergey Spivak. Waldo, he'll easily beat Waldo. And from here on out, it gets dangerous because Jailton Almeida is the next guy. Jailton Almeida has made a career of bullying bigger men that are heavier and fatter than him. He did it against Rosenstrike. He did it against Derek Lewis. He did it against Curtis Blades, at least in the first round. And then the second round, he got his temple elbowed. I think he beats all these guys. Cyril Gahn, Volkov. What's Volkov going to do? He's going to, outstrike him with the range? No, that would never happen against Shamil. Never. I know Volkov's really big and tall and rangy, 6'8", 6'7", 6'8", around that height. He's listed as 6'7". I think he's 6'8". He's like the same height as Tim Sylvia. And we've seen Volkov beat up all the other heavyweights. He beat Cyril Gahn in the rematch. He's really good. But I think Shamil Gaziev can, he's really fast on his feet. He can do some Imanari rolls, some scissor sweeps against the very tall, lanky guy like Alexander Volkov, and he wouldn't see it coming. We have yet to see a Shamil Gaziev Imanari roll. We have yet to see it. But that doesn't mean we won't see it. We might see it with the Sergey Spivak fight. We might. Cyril Gane, I consider Cyril Gane to be a horrible fighter. And then Tom Aspinall. Tom Aspinall obviously poses the greatest threat to Shamil Gaziev. But if Tom throws punches on Shamil's midsection or his body, all of the blubber and fat will just reverberate, and the energy, the kinetic energy, will be directed back to Tom Aspinall. Kind of like, Tai Lung versus the Dragon Warrior in Kung Fu Panda. Remember that one where he punched the panda in the belly and then it like reverberated back? Do you remember that? I'll put it up so you'll know.
Stop it! Oh, I'm gonna pee. Don't!
Yeah, so that's what's going to happen between Shamil Gaziev and Tom Aspinall. It'll be Tai Lung versus Poe. And Poe's going to win. Because he's the fucking Dragon Warrior. Shamil Gaziev beats the heavyweight division. He eats the heavyweight division. And his title walk starts now. And I'm tired of all the disrespect. I'm tired of all the memes. You need to give this man the respect that he deserves. He dominated Don'Tale Mayes. Complete domination. He beat Martin Buday. Do you know this? He was the only guy in the UFC to beat Martin Buday. Martin Buday was 7-1 in the UFC, and the UFC still cut him. He beat Marcus Buchecha. He beat all these guys. Except for Shamil. And then Shamil's latest fight, you remember, he did a big super shawarma punch against Thomas Peterson in the first round and knocked him out cold. Fight was over. The Jairzinho Rosenstrike fight, I've mentioned this in my previous Shamil Gaziev videos. A few nights before, a close source of mine told me that Shamil apparently, he had some black mold that got into his lungs as he was breathing in the hotel. And that's why he was running out of oxygen, his cardio problems. But something like that's never going to happen again so long as he stays healthy. And I do think he's going to stay healthy. That black mold situation was just a once in a lifetime, once in a blue moon kind of deal. It's not going to happen again. And Jairzinho Rosenstrike is just a boring fighter. He doesn't deserve to win that one. The referee called it off because Shamil had breathing problems. But I don't consider that loss to be a real loss because it wasn't due to, a lack of skill. It was just due to his health issues. So, yeah. I'm looking forward to this one. I hope it doesn't get canceled. And fuck Sergey Spivak. That's all I'm going to say. I'm going to be picking Shamil Gaziev. I'm picking Shamil Gaziev for this fight. I'll be rooting for Shamil Gaziev, and I can't wait. I really can't wait. That's all I got for you. Gable Stevenson is fighting tonight. I'm going to be watching that in a few hours. Peace out. Subscribe, motherfuckers.